Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and tonight we're going to be taking a look at the full moon that's occurring tomorrow on December 13th, 2016 at 7:05 in the evening Eastern Standard Time. And here we can see the moon will be at 22 degrees. It's actually going to be at 22 degrees 25 minutes. This is just a couple of minutes past. We can't adjust the minutes here to get it exact, but this is the approximate time of the full moon, and the aspects that you see occurring within this chart are where the planets will be at the time of the full moon. The mutable sign of Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury, so there are overtones of communication or mental thought that's tied into this full moon. The fact that it is mutable means it is adjustable or flexible, adaptable, and I look at all of the mutable signs as being the Ways and Means Committee members of the zodiac. All of the mutable signs are best suited to being helpers, fixers, negotiators, facilitators, go-betweens, people who are able to respond to a situation and find solutions to problems. They also are able to multitask, handle more than one thing at one time, and sometimes they are known for being restless, especially this air sign of Gemini. Gemini traditionally rules the third house of travel, communication, local travel, early childhood communication, your friends and neighbors in your local community, your siblings, people that you treat like brothers and sisters, your early formative ideas and imagination. So all of these things may come into play for you with the full moon, no matter where you have the sign of Gemini in your own natal chart, no matter what house you happen to have Gemini sitting in. And no matter what your sun sign is, you will still have Gemini overtones to this full moon, and communication and your relationships, especially on a casual or acquaintance level, may be important at the full moon. This is also the third house, is the house of politicians, salespeople, teachers, writers. So there can be a great deal of emphasis on those types of activities, and if you are any of those things, then you may be busier than normal with this full moon, because the full moon will be emphasizing those qualities. One of the first things that I noticed in terms of the geometry in the heavens at the time of this full moon is that we still have a weak grand trine going on here. You can see that this aspect here is beginning to fade as Mars moves out of the alignment here with Jupiter. They're now 7 degrees difference. But it is still a loose grand trine, this triangle here, where we have Jupiter in Libra, in the cardinal air sign of Libra, forming a trine to Mars in Aquarius, that is the fixed air sign of Aquarius, and Gemini, the moon in Gemini, in the mutable energy of air. So we have a grand trine in air, which places a lot of focus and attention on communication, thoughts, restlessness and change, especially with Mars in Aquarius. I also think that this is a very social grand trine, and I'm sure a lot of us will be going to office parties or other types of holiday gatherings over the next few days, as the full moon will kick off the social aspect of people gathering together, friends and acquaintances. Aquarius is also a very social sign, especially in terms of groups, larger groups or organizations. Mars shows where action can be taken. Jupiter shows growth and abundance and optimism, and here it is in Libra, where we seek compromise with other people, diplomacy, social strategy. So basically, we should all be playing well together and enjoying the higher mind aspects of the holiday season. Even if we are from different walks of life or have different beliefs, whether we're religious or non-religious is irrelevant with this grand trine. Everybody wants to get along. Everybody wants to have fun and honor their particular belief that they are following through the holidays, and they are also being respectful to other people at this time. And that is followed through here where we see the sextiles between Mars and the Sun conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius, and Jupiter also making a sextile to the Sun conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius. I have the feeling that there's going to be some greater seriousness this year with putting on a good face. And that has to do with the Sun conjunct Saturn, that people will be possibly more concerned with taking action to do things to help other people who maybe don't have it as well as they do in life, people who might be lacking friends or family or resources as they go into the holidays. This is a reaching out energy with this kite in wanting to do good as far as anybody's means can make it happen, and that there would actually be action and participation, not just throwing money at a problem to provide a solution, but people actually joining in and doing good through their actions, not just their words, but their actions. So we may be hopefully hearing a lot of good news stories within the news, and maybe there'll be more heartwarming news currently rather than negativity. There is still some potential for some stress or negativity within our oppositions and our squares. This square in particular, Sun conjunct Saturn square to Chiron in Pisces, I think that many people will be feeling a pinch in terms of financial resources when it comes to doing things for their family and wishing that they could do more or have more. And I think that the main understanding that this full moon, which is tying in with that square as it opposes the Sun and Saturn, it forms this red triangle called a T-square. I think that there would be an emotional understanding that you make do with what you have, and you do the best that you can with what you have, and be grateful for the things that you do have, and be grateful for your friends. Be grateful for your friends, your family, your neighbors, acquaintances, and enjoy the meaning behind the season rather than the materialism of the season. And there may be pressure, of course, to go overboard on the material level while transiting Mercury is conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, forming a square to Jupiter in Libra and a square to Uranus in Aries. And this too speaks to I must be able to do better. I should be able to do better. Why can't I go out and buy the newest or the biggest or the best? So there may be some self-judgment that comes up during this time frame with the full moon as well. Some critical self-judgment in terms of power and the ability to have more or be more. And there may be some resistance toward austerity or toward having to tighten the belt or do without the temptation, of course, for those who are able to go and use credit and overextend so that they can appear as though they are benevolent, as Jupiter likes to appear, or very powerful or very moneyed may come into play. So be careful with your spending, and keep in mind that the Grand Trine and the Kite basically show that we would all rather have the experience of the people and being together this holiday than just having the big ticket items or having the material expression of the holidays. and some other things that we have going on here. This is technically a Cinderella aspect, Jupiter to Chiron, and this may bring some blessings or unexpected gains for people. May also bring some of those romantic Christmas proposals, and it is a nice time period for relationships that are moving into marriage to be settling into that commitment, while Jupiter and Chiron are making a nice aspect with each other. Another aspect pattern we have in here is this rectangle. And this is called a mystic rectangle, and it doesn't mean anything particularly woo-woo or magical. However, any strong geometric figure in the patterns of aspects when we're looking at the planets shows dynamic energy. And what this mystic rectangle does is it takes 4 positive or flowing aspects. These 4 points of the rectangle are where the planets are shaking hands and assisting each other, despite the fact that they are facing off against each other through these oppositions. And the way I look at a mystic rectangle is if you had 4 horses running free and wild and pulling off in 4 different directions, not an awful lot would get done. Here, this horse would be running that way, that one would be going there, this one off that way, and that one off that way. This actually acts like a yoke that pulls 4 horses together into something strong enough to pull a wagon forward. So there's strong forward motion when we have a rectangle. And what I see in charts, people's natal charts, when I see a mystic rectangle, is that I see somebody who sticks something out and finds a way around or over if they can't get directly through. If they are not able to get directly through because of the tension of the oppositions, where, let's say, Jupiter here is resisting Uranus over there, and the moon, the full moon here, resisting the sun and Saturn, when you have those oppositions, there can be challenge or friction. It's kind of like holding 2 magnets but flipping them so that they don't pull together. You can still feel the energy of 2 magnets, but they will repel each other. And that's what you get with planetary oppositions, is kind of a repulsion. And when you have these trines and sextiles kind of lock that energy in there, it gives a way around or through. So despite the fact that emotions may be very high and there can be resistance, perhaps about seeing some ideal situation manifest or come into being, and it may be very difficult to get exactly what you want or have a situation be the way you want it to be, and there may be issues between you, yourself, and another individual, because Uranus in Aries is very self-oriented and can be a bit feisty, and Jupiter in Libra is wanting to be inclusive of others and looks toward diplomacy with another person, whereas Aries wants to go off independently and break free. The way through that would be to hold on to an image of that perfection, seek the cooperation between other people by verbalizing, communicating clearly, and treating other people in a friendly fashion, asking perhaps for help rather than thinking you have to do it all or you can do it by yourself. Reach out to people, even perhaps people that you don't know very well. Make a friend of a stranger. Make a friend of a neighbor who you've never said hello to. Expand your boundaries through other people. This basically would say reach out on the social level, meet more people, and then listen to their point of view or look at things from their perspective. Look for advice or information outside of yourself, or just the one individual in front of you. Look for the larger group, or look for a third party, or look for a new acquaintance, somebody that you have not thought of communicating with. Look for ways around rather than trying to knock things over. And you will find a way. That is one thing that the mystic rectangle can bring about. So that's basically where the planets are right now. And of course, we're in the winter season where we have a lot of activity going on through those winter signs. The days are getting shorter. We're approaching the solstice on the 21st, I believe. And once we get past that date, it starts getting a little bit lighter every day, and the days last a little bit longer. I always look forward to that particular time of year because I'm one of those that doesn't like those long, dark nights and those short, cold days. So things will be on the upswing then. We also have a Mercury retrograde to be preparing for. It occurs on December 19th and it lasts until January the 8th. If you have travel plans to make and you've been waiting, I would advise that you make them before the 19th. Get your tickets in order or do whatever you need to do before the 19th. If you are traveling between the 19th of December and January the 8th, make sure you have that spare pair of underpants and toothbrush in your carry-on luggage, and double check all your tickets, paperwork, travel plans. Leave early to get places. Expect the unexpected and expect disruptions. Mercury can be particularly pesky when it comes to travel, and of course many people travel around the holidays, and being the winter, of course, you can expect that there may be delays because of weather. So have a second plan in place, or be prepared to have your plans changed or delayed, particularly delay as Mercury goes through Capricorn. This basically can slow down the wheels of bureaucracy, governmental processes, paperwork that has anything to do with filling out long forms. So if you have anything in the works like that involves a lot of paperwork or following through steps that must be done, anything that is very serious or regulated, those may be things that you have to rework or readdress or go over again during that retrograde season. I think that's about it. Let's just take a quick look over here at the Sabian symbol. We round up to 23 degrees of Gemini, 3 fledglings in a nest high in a tree. I'm very excited actually about this full moon because my ascendant or rising sign in my chart is 22 degrees and some odd minutes of Gemini. So this full moon is occurring exactly conjunct my ascendant, and this is actually the Sabian symbol that I have for my ascendant. The growth of spiritually creative processes in an at least relatively integrated mind. And creative integration is the main keywords for this Sabian symbol. And it mentions the threefold quality, the divine trinity of man. So this really speaks of a combination of the mental and the spiritual, which I feel Gemini at its highest expression is focused on those things. I always think of Gemini as being very bird-like, being the bird, the messenger, of course, Mercury, the winged messenger, but whenever I think of Gemini, I think of a little bird told me. And so listen to the little birds in your life during this full moon, and listen and watch for those little overheard things from movies or conversations or something you read in a book, those little words that have spiritual meaning or give you the answers to your questions at the time of this full moon. If you ask a question, the universe will answer. And anything that is posed, any problem or situation that you have that is posed in question form, will deliver an answer. And then just listen for that little bird to bring you the message. And my final message is happy holidays to everybody. I'll probably be sending out something to everyone subscribed to my mailing list to remind you that I have gift certificates that are available until New Year's Eve. You can purchase these for yourself or for those hard to shop for people. When you do purchase a gift certificate for a 1-hour reading, I'm also sending free codes that will enable you to receive a 1-year day watch calendar and the full year's day watch report for every single transit to your chart throughout that year. And it is computer generated, but it is a very valuable tool and definitely a nice little bonus that you can either keep for yourself or pass on to somebody else. You can share that code, give it away to someone else if you don't choose to use it. And I would also like to give a little plug here for my friend Sundara Fawn. This is also on my site, Reawakening the Soul. She has finally packaged her artwork in the most beautiful book imaginable and deck of cards, and I've been very, very blessed to know her and to have her as a friend. And if you are looking for something that is ageless, timeless, uplifting, transformative, and beautiful to gift to other people, please consider gifting somebody her oracle card decks or the full book that comes with it. Each deck of cards comes with a small little book, and then she has her larger book, Reawakening the Soul, which accompanies the cards also, but it is an EFT manual for those who've ever heard of who've never heard of EFT. It's emotional freedom technique, and it is a system of tapping and using affirmations to clear negative emotions or blocks and basically reset yourself and have emotional breakthroughs. So you can learn EFT through her book, and there's great guided EFT tapping sessions within the book, and the full meanings of all her cards and her artwork is just extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And this picture here does not do justice to these cards. They are thick, heavy. The little gold line you see here is beautiful gold embossing. The artwork is absolutely exquisite. So consider that, and I appreciate you all very much, and I hope that everybody has, or I intend and know that everybody has a safe and happy holiday season and safe travels. Be vigilant during Mercury retrograde. As I said, be alert, aware, and early and prepared, and you should sail through that Mercury retrograde season just fine. This year, when we begin a new year, in terms of numerology, it is a number 1 cycle. So this new year is going to signal new beginnings as we enter into a number 1 cycle in terms of the consciousness of society. So fresh start, new beginnings coming up with the new year in 2017. And I hope to hear from you before then. And probably will be posting another moon look before that time period as well. Happy holidays, everybody.